jointly with NBC, started this thing called Hulu, which
Yep.
is a central place to stream
Hulu
shows. Why did you start this, and what are you going to do about it? It's a well-designed site, but when I reviewed it, my complaint was it was fairly thin on content. So what's the idea behind it?
Well, I think you're right, but you know, it's changing every week. We're putting more and more and more content. We're inviting everybody else to put their content on and handle it. But as far as we were concerned, we want to control our own copyrights, to be perfectly honest, and we thought this was a pretty good way of doing it.
Yeah, why didn't you sue them? If you're
them?
so concerned about controlling your copyright, I'm pretty sure you could go on YouTube and see News Corp copyrighted
all
stuff
the time
on there.
I mean,
but why didn't you
Simpsons is a big party.
Okay, so why didn't you sue them the way that Viacom did?
We had mixed feelings about it, and I think we sort of came down to the view in the end that it was doing more to promote our shows than it was to hurting them.
The question is, if this big company of all these media properties, is somebody somewhere in your empire looking at doing some stuff just for the internet?
No, I think, well, they probably are, but we're doing, you know, we do a lot of stuff on mobile, mobisodes and so on, which we make specially for that, and, you know, we're just feeling our way there. Steve Ballmer sees these people with a monopoly, a river of gold flowing in.
Right. When he was here, he drew a chart on a whiteboard here on the stage, and he said, to some laughter in the audience, given their company's history, gee, Google could become a monopoly, and that would be very bad for publishers and advertisers and consumers. That doesn't concern you at all, that they could control so much of it?
Well, you know, the marketplace looks after monopolies after a while if they abuse their position. But the truth is, I think Steve is perfectly right. They're saying, look, these people are going to have so much money, they're so ambitious, they're so brilliant, they can come and they can really damage our whole business model and our own enormous cash flow.
But as a publisher, because he was saying publishers want competing advertising marketplaces online.
It's a story about a company. People want choice in everything.
How do you look at the political scene right now? And not so much the Fox impact, because I think that's sort of, we all get that.
All the Fox impact is, you know, people laugh at when I say fair and balanced. All it does, it gives both sides, which the others haven't done in the past. And, you know, it's...
Both sides?
You really believe that? You really think it's completely neutral?
Yes.
We're going to have, for the first time in a long time, somebody who's not a Bush or a Clinton probably as president. And what's your assessment of the situation?
I think you've got probably the making of a complete phenomenon in this country. Politicians in Washington are at an all-time low. They are despised by 80% of the public. They're just sick to death. And you've got a candidate who's putting himself and trying to put himself out above it all and say he's not the average politician. And he's become a rock star. It's fantastic.
I mean, assuming he doesn't screw up somehow, the tide is against the Republicans because they've been in power.
Absolutely. You've got the Obama phenomenon. You've got undoubtedly a recession.
And what is the McCain issue from your perspective?
Well, he's been in Congress a long time, and you've got to make too many compromises. So, you know, what's he really stand for? He's a patriot. He's a friend of mine. He's a very decent guy. I think he has, and I say this sympathetically, I think he has a lot of problems. He's got to revolutionize. The education system in this country is a total disgrace.
Did you have anything to do with the New York Post endorsing him in the Democratic primary in New York State?
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk a little bit of Apple Computer. How do you look at what's happening in the device market and what people are using?
Well, Apple is a company with enormous admiration. I think they're brilliant marketers, beautiful designers. In a corporate sense, it's slow, it's hard.
What's happening in the economy? How do you feel about it, and how will it affect both the
I
tech
think
business
there's a
and the
lot of
media
aspects
business.
to it which Congress has completely screwed up, and it's disgraceful. But just taking the pure facts where we are today, the average family is squeezed to death. They're living hand to mouth. But for the most part of the country is suffering terribly, and people are cutting back. And the next thing is you're going to see is some unemployment. We're going to be dependent on oil for quite a long time. If we say, look, we're going to spend trillions of dollars on nuclear power, on windmills, on God knows what, right now, it's going to take 10, 15 years to have any real effect. You know, that's pretty disastrous. We've got to do something about it right here and now.
What would you do? I mean, what's your personal...
I'd let people drill off the west coast. You know, if you didn't want to upset people's view, they've got to be 50 miles offshore or something. There's plenty of oil to go and discover. I'd certainly bring it. We didn't buy Alaska to save a couple of elk. Not that any elk have been hurt. You know?
But in the next 18 months or 2 years or however...
Next 18 months, I think this country at least is in for a very hard time.
All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you so much.